Um, whoo! What is going on, YouTube? Lindy Endzone is back again for the touchdown, taking the lead for the Eagles, one video at a time. Whew! What did we see tonight? Wow. This is a loss. This is a loss, but wow. Wow. This is a loss, but I'm speechless. Honestly, I'm completely speechless right now. I got it. I had to bring it out. I had to bring it out. It was a gift from my sister, so it's like it's been sitting in my closet for a while. I had to bring it out. Um, Shoo. Talk about a heroic effort for Jalen Hurts. Whew. Well, the Eagles take this loss. The Eagles take this loss humbly, 33-26. Man, that's crazy. But I still do have a few complaints of my own. But just before we get into any of that, hey, if you like the content, let me know how I'm doing. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get my name out there. That's all. But first and foremost, I love talking Eagles. And man, did they give me a game to talk about. I think it gave a lot of us a game to talk about here. Like I said, we took a loss. It was a humble loss. Well fought loss. Man, almost, well, in two of the three phases of our team, because special teams was just straight up atrocious. Defense, man. 3 turnovers? Unreal. And that's my problem. That's my problem now. Your defense forces 3 turnovers and you still lose. Yeah. So I don't know, man, but let's go over it. Jalen Hurts ended up having to throw 44 times today. Those are Carson Wentz pass attempts. So Jalen Hurts goes 24-44 for 338 yards with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. No interceptions. He did fumble twice, neither of which were recovered by the defense. One of those fumbles he recovered, and as we just recently seen, he picked up and threw a rifle to Dallas Goedert on the sideline to help him get out of bounds and stop the clock. Man, that was unbelievable. Yeah. So what's going on, Fly Eagles TV? What's up, man? Tough loss. Doug's play calling in the first quarter and special teams suck. That fake punt pass. We can't score when the defense gives us the ball. Well, yeah, you definitely read my mind, man. I was about to get to that. But yeah, let's continue here. The offensive line did not have a good day today. Yeah, they may have looked okay. The offensive line may have looked okay in the second and third quarter, but the first and the fourth, they weren't very good. They weren't. That first quarter bothers me the most. I don't know if it's the first set of scripted plays or if it's Doug's play calling, but that first quarter was absolutely atrocious. I don't know what they were thinking, but I do have to credit Doug Peterson. And I'll explain why. The second half came around. Now, if we paid attention to the first half, we may have gone back into things. I don't remember what we were down by going into halftime, but because it was like, man, it was one of those games where there's so much to pay attention to because the action is just one thing after another. I don't forget what we were down at halftime. But if you remember how the team played in the first half, we eventually got a little bit of a rhythm in the second quarter. But Doug went down the wrong path of play calling. Like there was a bunch of boneheaded plays, dude. You know what? I mean, you know, with all this Carson Wentz speculation going on, and we know how bad Carson has been, but it's not good to see Doug's play calling just kind of trickle onto Jalen Hurts when he's out on the field. I mean, that direct snap to Hurts to try and run the football. I think we were in the red zone. That was a stupid play call to me. On a couple of series, we had before we converted a first down, there was a couple of series where Doug Peterson, like, and I don't know if the criticism of him running the ball got into his head, but if we remember, there were some series where he like ran the ball 3 straight times. Excuse me, where I don't know. The offense was just such a mess in the first quarter. I don't know what they were thinking. You know, there was a couple of series where he was running the ball 3 straight times and trying to shove Miles Sanders up the middle. I'm like, what are you doing? Like this is it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to try and have a power attack when Jalen Hurts is on the field. I mean, where was all this running the ball 2-3 straight times when you have Carson Wentz in there to try and establish a rhythm? With Jalen Hurts, it's a little bit different. So it's like, yeah, man, I don't know. There was if I can put it on one person, and it depends on the play calling of the first quarter. It depends on if it's the first 15 scripted or if Doug Peterson has authority to kind of call in or out of those scripted plays. But if I had to blame one person for this loss, it would have to be Doug Peterson. If we don't have that piss poor of a first quarter, we're winning this football game. Without 100%, without a doubt, we're winning this football game if we did not have that poor of a first quarter. But I do have to give him credit because he calmed down a little bit. He knew what he was doing coming out of halftime, talking about that they just have to stop. They have to stop the momentum of Kyler Murray, him hitting receivers early. DeAndre Hopkins, he hit Larry Fitzgerald. Speaking of Larry Fitzgerald, Nickel, Roby Coleman, really? What were you doing on that touchdown that you gave up to Larry Fitzgerald? I don't know. I don't know, guys. Like seriously, like tell me in the comments. Like, why does Jim Schwartz have our corners play their back to the football? Seriously, if Nickel turned at least a second sooner, that ball would be deflected and we would negate the touchdown to Larry Fitzgerald early in the game. But he had his back turned. For what reason? You pushed Larry to the back corner of the pylon, to the back pylon in the corner of the end zone. You pushed him all the way back there, and Kyler knew where he was going with the ball. So at least turn around and play the ball. I don't get it. I don't get it. But, but I have to. I'm done with Jim Schwartz. See, this game is a tough one for me because, let's remember. Jim Schwartz is working with rookie corners off of the practice squad this game. He's working with Kevon Seymour. He's working with Michael Jacquet, who did have a good. I mean, Michael Jacquet did a good job. He had one of the toughest tests covering DeAndre Hopkins. Kevon Seymour is, he's trying to do his job out there. He's coming in and helping on double teaming on plays where you remember where he tried to come in and deflect that pass. I think it was DeAndre Hopkins up the middle, and Kevon Seymour tries to come in and help Jacquet deflect the pass. So it's like, I love the energy that these guys come out with on defense and play. Alex Singleton. Can he be the starting linebacker? Can he be a starting linebacker next year, please? Can he please? Like, are we done? Are we done with Nathan Gary already? Because there's no way. There's no way, in my opinion, that Nathan Gary is going out there and playing with the same tenacity as Alex Singleton. Alex was all over the place, man. Insane. The dude was, excuse me, Alex Singleton was all over the place. Just, we forced 2 fumbles, recovered both of them. Marcus Epps finally did something. Wow. I got to give him a little bit of kudos. But he still gave up that stupid, egregious trick play on the punt. Like, I mean, I don't know how you do or don't see that. Obviously, as soon as the punter got it, there was a little bit of a fraction of time in there where you see the receiver split up the middle, and you're so laser focused on the punter. It's like, dude, just carry with them. It's a trick play. Like, what are you doing? Why is your reaction time so bad? But man, Jalen Hurts was pulling some Wentz-esque plays. And I say Wentz-esque because just like that one I just talked about, Hurts fumbles, picks it back up, and throws on the run with a rusher barreling down his back. He just lets it rip, sees Goddard. The Carson Wentz we knew, that's all him. That's a play that Carson does when he is in a prime mind. When Carson is like mentally in his prime, that's the kind of play he makes. It was unbelievable. But speaking of Hurts is the first rookie quarterback in Eagles history to record 4 total touchdowns in a single game. Wow. That's great, man. You know what? Dude, it is, yeah. I knew I was mad. I knew I was not mad. I was just dumbfounded by the pick. But who would have thought it would have come to this moment where we did end up needing Jalen Hurts? Because if we didn't have him, you really think Nate Sudfeld's going to do something like that? Assuming that Carson still gets benched, which if we had Jalen Hurts, I don't see him getting benched. But because now, honestly, Jalen might have been drafted in the 2nd round, but he's a first-round talent. I mean, let's not forget, we're talking about a Heisman runner-up here who scored 52 total touchdowns in his last college season in Oklahoma. He's built. He is built for games and moments like this. He's built for it. And that's why I wasn't really worried about him in the Saints game. I know there's other Eagles content creators out there that are like, no, you don't start him against the Saints, and that's not the game for him to start and whatnot. I can understand if it was a quarterback that wasn't capable of putting up a fight and winning that football game. Jalen's resume in college shows that he's built for that moment. And the same thing happened tonight. Or today, excuse me. It's 8 o'clock Eastern time right now. But yeah, it's unbelievable. Wow. I'm still dumbfounded. I'm almost not mad that we lost. But however, that does not put us in a good position to win the division. And as we know, Doug Peterson in December, he's that guy. He's that coach. So after today's loss, with backups playing, I don't know if the statistic was towards like the end of the season or not, but Doug Peterson is 13-5. 13-5. That's pretty impressive. I mean, really. And I think Jalen Hurts was the perfect opportunity quarterback to play in this game because you got, I mean, it was an Oklahoma shootout. You got an Oklahoma shootout between Kyler and Jalen Hurts. And man, did they battle. For context here, Kyler Murray was 27 of 36 for 406 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Now, this is another problem that I have. The defensive line did not do a good job today. They did not do a good job. Kyler is, I understand Kyler is a faster quarterback than Taysom Hill. But where was this pressure? Where was this pressure from the Saints game? Why did it not carry over to face Arizona? That's what I want to know. Arizona's offensive line is not as good as the Saints. And you can only afford 1 sack. That's it. I mean, we all know that with Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator, it's predicated on the performance of the defensive line. That's when this defense plays at its best. When the defensive line can get pressure up the middle, push through them gaps, and, get to the quarterback. Now, I understand they did it a couple of times. The pressure was there. The pressure was there at times, but they just didn't do enough. 1 sack is not going to cut it. It just doesn't. I mean, you allowed Kyler Murray to have a passer rating of almost 128. I mean, really, he had only 9 incompletions. 9 on 8 less pass attempts than Jalen Hurts. To which Jalen Hurts was sacked 6 times. And 2 of those were back-to-back in one of the most pivotal moments of the fourth quarter. That's just unacceptable. Doug knew going in that his offensive line, who's going through its 13th different rotation in 14 games, he knew that they were going to be punished. And it took him until the second half of this football game to figure out that you need to be a little more creative than trying to run the ball on a defense that defends the run better than the pass. Where's the sense in that? Like really? The first quarter is where you start your momentum building. And we ended up being down 16-0? Seriously? That doesn't help you win football games. Like I said, if the first quarter wasn't as piss poor as it was, we would have won this football game. Even if Kyler had a similar stat line, we still would have won this football game. Plain and simple. I mean, I don't know what more you can ask of this defense for forcing 3 turnovers, even when our secondary was as battered up as it was. They didn't quit. The rookies didn't quit. Kevon Seymour, Michael Jaquette, Nickel Roby-Coleman, for what it's worth, he didn't quit. Jalen Mills had some boneheaded plays too. He didn't quit. Marcus Epps didn't quit, even though he had boneheaded plays himself. Who else didn't quit? My guy, Kayvon Wallace, he didn't quit. They brought the energy. They brought the energy today. But what ultimately happened is that you got to have energy for 4 quarters, not just 3. 4 quarters. You need to have energy for 4 quarters, and just I don't know how, man. The more I talk about that first quarter, the more it pisses me off a little bit because it's just like it's unacceptable. It's really unacceptable. But let's see. Let's go back to the stats here. So the pass to rush ratio was 44 to 29. I think I can work with that. Miles did not necessarily have a good day running the football. He had 17 carries for 64 yards. He averaged 3.8, so just below the typical average of an okay game is basically 4 yards a carry. So Miles was sitting under 4.8 a little bit. So that's not terrible. What is up, man? Yeah, I am really sad. That was a really tough loss. The offensive line is taking years off my life. I mean that's just what I explained like a couple of minutes ago. It seemed to me I didn't see the same amount of pressure given up in the first half of the offensive line as I did in the second half, especially the fourth quarter where throats are starting to get tight. I mean, that's not when you give that's not when you let the pocket collapse on your quarterback. That's just unacceptable. And if I remember correctly, I didn't notice any given up by Jordan Mailata. I think most of the sacks came through the left guard spot or the right. Matt Pryor is bad, man. I don't know what Matt Pryor was doing this game. Nate Herbig was a little bit shaky. Sayamalu had his moments. Um, I don't have many complaints about Jason Kelsey other than you can't give up that false start that sets you back 3rd and 20, or like it was either 2nd or 3rd and 20 plus. You can't give that up. You're the only remaining starting offensive lineman out there, and you just give up a very critical false start. I'm sorry, Jason. I understand. I understand, but for Jason Kelsey to give that up, that was unacceptable. Um, yeah, I don't. Yeah, no. You can't. Six sacks is unnecessary, man. Like I said, especially in the fourth quarter, throats are getting tighter. This defense is barreling down your neck. Just come, like we knew going in, it was just going to be constant pressure. Um, what was it? I think it was 49 for the Cardinals. I can't think of his name right now. It's not. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna show me on ESPN here. Arizona defense. See if I can remember his name here. Let me see. I think it's this guy. Yeah. Um, Dennis Gardeck for the Cards. Their linebacker, number 49. Yeah. He came up with, I think, two critical sacks late in that game when the offensive line was terrible. So, yeah, Gardeck, one of the good linebackers. Murphy got in there and got a sack. Hassan Reddick got in there and got a sack. No, you can't give up 6 sacks like that and expect to win that game. And you can't expect to call as poor of a first quarter as and like I said, I don't know if um like I don't know if it was the scripted plays in the first quarter that were just completely off page or if it was Doug Peterson's play calling, but yeah, that first quarter was atrocious. Let me see. I'm getting off. I'm all over the place here. Let me get back to what I was looking at. One other thing I loved about this game. This is what I want to see. When you look up the statistics, especially for receiving, everybody on this list had a reception. That is the definition of a well-organized offense. Zach Ertz, 2 receptions. Alshon Jeffrey, 2 receptions. Jalen Reagor had 5. Quez Watkins, yes. I'm so happy Quez Watkins got his first NFL touchdown. I'm so excited, man. I loved it. 3rd and 20, gutsy play call on 3rd and 20. They take the screen to Quez Watkins, and he just bursts down the left field sideline for the touchdown. There was a couple of good blocks in there. I think Zach Ertz had a good block. I'd have to go back to the play to see who it was exactly, but man, my boy Quez, yes. Dallas Goedert with 4 receptions. Travis Fulgham. I don't get it, man. I don't know what to think. I don't. It's like you preserve Travis Fulgham all this time to try and make sense of Alshon Jeffrey, who did have a decent game today. He had 2 catches for 63 yards. I mean, on 3 targets. It's pretty good. I did not like Jalen Hurts early when he tried attacking Patrick Peterson when he was covering Jalen Reagor. That's not the matchup you want. I know Patrick Peterson is on his last legs, but his legs still allow him to run. He's not one of the slower corners. He's been in this league long enough to really bully a rookie, which I'm still confused. I mean, where is this speed that Jalen Reagor is supposed to have? That's what I want to know. It's like every time Patrick Peterson was matched up on Jalen Reagor, Jalen didn't really have much separation. I was hoping to see Reagor burn him maybe. Now, Reagor did leave later in the game. I think he tweaked his ankle, so I can't tell when it happened, and I don't want to say it happened early, but I just didn't necessarily agree with attacking Patrick Peterson when he was covering Jalen Reagor. But when he was covering Alshon Jeffrey, now you're onto something. You got a veteran receiver who likes to play above the rim. You give him some fades, you give him some jump balls. Alshon and Patrick fought a little bit. They did fight in coverage a little bit. There was a couple of times where Alshon Jeffrey may have gotten away with an offensive pass interference, but he ended up getting 2 pass interference calls on Patrick Peterson. You know, that's what you want. But the only times where Jalen attacked Patrick Peterson and it worked was when he was covering Alshon Jeffrey. That's what, see, veteran on veteran, I like that matchup a little better than veteran on rookie. And it showed. But I did like Jalen getting I did like the aggressiveness when he tried hitting Reagor in the end zone for the touchdown when he was covered by Patrick Peterson. I don't think he had enough grasp to maybe throw an over the shoulder. He was close to the goalpost. So I was thinking that in the back of my mind, but at the same time, I can't complain with the result because you have a taller corner on a shorter receiver. Pat Pete just stuck his hand up, deflected the pass like somebody shooting a jump shot, and that was it. Yeah, but yeah, I really I still don't understand to this day, you know, with this whole thing with Travis Fulgham. It seemed that, you know, according to Doug Peterson that maybe he was in the doghouse a little bit, but he comes in and does what he's supposed to do. 2, not 1, but 2 critical receptions on one of the last scoring drives, a potential scoring drive, excuse me, at the end of the game. 2 big receptions for 30 yards. And his longest was that 18, where he got the first one, I think he didn't get out of bounds, but the second one he did. Man, just we, we needed more of that earlier in the game. But we continue to push Alshon Jeffrey out there. I don't want to get into the whole thing with, Alshon preferring, Jalen Hurts and over Carson Wentz and, the Josina, whatever bullshit. But, no, man. We need to see more Travis Fulgham. He still has it. He still has it. Miles Sanders had a 26-yard reception. I think it was on a screen if I remember correctly. I think it was on a screen. Boston Scott had one for 7. So between all the receivers, obviously including the tight ends, 24 catches for 338. That'll work. They averaged 14 yards of reception. And this goes back to what I was saying about Doug Peterson's adjustments in coming into the second half. What the Cardinals seen in the first half with our defense, we seen the same thing with what the Cardinals were doing on defense in the second half. The Cardinals noticed that they can attack us in zone coverage, especially on cover 3. We've seen it with a couple of passes. I think there was a couple of passes to Larry Fitzgerald in there. Their tight end, Arnold, got a few where he was wide open. DeAndre Hopkins had some where he was wide open. So we ended up doing that in the second half. Anytime the Cardinals showed a cover 3 look, that's when we seemed to get momentum with Jalen Hurts throwing the football. There wasn't enough of that in the first half. And, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think it makes sense to that Doug Peterson in the first half was a little bit too run heavy. I mean, let me know, guys, if I'm making sense here. He looked a little too run heavy to me in the first half, and it seemed like the only momentum he got was, getting Hurts out in space a little bit, letting him roll out or get a couple of screens in there. One of the good momentum swings was that call for Quez Watkins on the screen on 3rd and 20, and you can see the shift there. So yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, guys, I'm just scrolling through my notifications here, but yeah. I mean, that's all I can really say about this football game. But yeah, man, Jalen Hurts. Whew. I don't know what would have happened if we didn't have him for this game. I don't know. As much as I love Carson Wentz, I don't see how he wins this football game, especially for how aggressive the Cardinals' defensive line was on our offensive line. Considering the result of the second half, especially the fourth quarter. Yeah. See, even a mobile quarterback, a little more mobile, but even a mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts can still get sacked as much as he did. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's unacceptable. Like, whew. But, man, so at the end of the day, man, there's not much I can complain about other than I'm a little irritated that, like I said, we could have won this football game had Doug Peterson did a better job in the first quarter because, honestly, after us going down 16-0, I wanted to turn the game off because I wanted to turn the game off, man, because it was that pathetic. And I just thought, you know what, this is going to be a blowout. The defense really isn't clicking. Doug's play calling or the first, the first 15 scripted plays, just putrid. Ooh, excuse me, I had a bit of a hiccup there. But let's see here. What else did I want to say? Ha! How about them Jets? The Rams lost to the winless Jets. Oh my goodness! That is embarrassing, man. Whew. How do the Rams lose to the Jets? And it's not like the Rams didn't play their starters. It's not like they didn't play their starters. Oh my goodness. How about that? The Rams lost to the pathetic Jets. But let's get back on schedule here. Let me see. I have to go to. Give me a second here. So let's go to the NFC East, and I'll wrap this up afterward. Because there's definitely going to be either a bunch of content going on tonight or tomorrow. I'll probably be more active tomorrow. But let's jump to the NFC East quick. So Washington took a loss today. They lost to Seattle. That puts them at 6-8. They are still atop of the division. The New York Giants, I don't see them winning their game, but they're sitting at 5-8. After today, we are now last. I think we were still last in the division anyway. We're at 4-9-1. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys won today. They beat the San Francisco 49ers by a score of the result of Super Bowl 52 when we beat the Patriots 41-33. So, I don't want to say that Dallas is hitting their stride right now because there's still 2 games of football to go. But the only way we can win the division, as I don't necessarily think we're counted out yet. Washington would have to drop their next 2. And if we win our next 2, that puts us at 6-9-1. Dallas can only afford, for us to win a division, Dallas can only afford to win 1 more game. The Giants, let's see. The Giants would have to lose out, I think. So we have to win out. Dallas has to go 1-1. Washington has to lose out. And the Giants have to lose out. So for the NFC East, the division isn't necessarily clear cut for the Eagles to win it. But it's still possible at this very moment, if I'm correct. I was just going off of the top of my head, just looking at the standings of the division. But to me, that's the only way we can win, is if for the scenario that I just explained to occur. But we got a big game next week. We got to go to Jerry World to take on the Dallas Cowboys, who are off of an exciting win. They scored 41 points against the 49ers. I'm not sure how much stock I can put into that. However, it looks like the defense is coming together for them a little bit, and because Ezekiel Elliott has not been as big of a factor in that offense, it looks like they're clicking a little better. So, we got a absolutely crucial stretch of football left in these remaining 2 games. So, with that being said, that's going to do it for me for the night. I'm at a good 40 minutes. I appreciate every one of you that has come in and giving me a listen for just a little bit. Even if it wasn't for the entire period of time, that's fine with me. I still appreciate you guys either way for coming in or even hitting playback when my stream finishes. But um, like I said, I might do maybe a day after. Um, I might do a day after. I don't know. Um, I could very well participate in some other live call-ins of streams with other content creators. I do like getting involved with Philly Notion a lot. Um, Great dude. Philly Insider Podcast with Hunter. I gotta get on. I gotta get on and collab with you soon, man. I gotta do that. Um, you know, Sports Talk with Let's Go Birds. Always a good time hanging with you. Good to talk to. Cool Eagles a good one. Yeah, Fly Eagles TV. I appreciate you coming out. Looks like Nidings. I might have mispronounced it because it looks like a Q. So I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but yeah, I appreciate everybody that came out. That's gonna do it for me for this stream, man. I'm still excited either way. Jalen Hurts, you had a hell of a game, man. Even though you lost, have yourself a day. You just broke a record for this franchise. Hold your head up high, man. You got 2 games left to win, and yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I've been in Lindy end zone for the touchdown, taking the lead for the Eagles, one video at a time. See you next time, y'all.